From New York City, it's a live show, and look at our first responders and law enforcement here with us in Studio F. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for your service. God bless each and every one of you and your families.
I don't think you have to say that to Rudy Giuliani. Everybody here knows how you feel about them.
Morning, Mayor.
America's mayor.
Good morning.
Is it possible to get 5 days from 9/11 and not get emotional if you're Mayor Rudy Giuliani?
No, it isn't. I took a young lady to a 14-year-old girl that wanted to see the museum last week. I've only been there twice. I've only actually gone through it once. First time I couldn't get through it. And I thought it wasn't going to be that emotional, and it was. Just going around, walking around. It kind of brings back to you, as I'm sure they all remember, it brings back to you things you've forgotten. You know, people you saw, things that you saw. So, yeah, it's very, very emotional. But it's wonderful to be here with these heroes.
14
they're the
years
ones who brought our country through.
And about 12 of them were here on 9/11, served on 9/11.
She wasn't alive, and she was very, very curious about it, and she had all kinds of questions about it. And she goes to a very good school, so she knows history, which is like one of the exceptional kids nowadays who was taught history. Gosh. And I wanted her to, know personally what September 11th was all about.
There's a part of the museum that's in the very back that someone told me to go and listen to if you can, because the tour guides don't really take you in this direction. You can listen to a phone call of a man that was on the plane saying goodbye to his wife and leaving the message on their answering machine. What stuck out to you?
Well, you know what? So that brings in my mind it's just random that happens. Brings in my mind the second press conference I had that day. We were near the end of it, and a reporter put up her hand and said, did you hear that recording of the woman who was on the plane going into the Pentagon talking to her husband, the Solicitor General? And it was the first time I really lost it. We had been there. We'd been trapped for a while. We got out. We all did it kind of automatically. The reason was I knew who that was. That was Barbara Olson. Mm-hmm. And the Solicitor General of the United States, a very good friend of mine, Ted Olson. And I had just seen them 5 days before. She had just put out a book about Hillary Clinton, and she had come to New York to promote it. And we had a nice visit in the mayor's office. And it was like out of left field. Yeah. I mean, I was already used to the fact that Father Judge was gone, and Pete Gansey, but Father Judge. What did I say?
You did.
Oh, good. Okay. I wanted to make sure I got it right. I don't want to be like Joe Biden. I can't help it. You got to always fool around. You know who taught me that? Von Essen taught me that. Tom Von Essen. Tom Von Essen was a firefighter, and in the middle of it, he would come up with the funniest jokes. President Bush got in the car. President Bush put his arm on Tom Von Essen. This was 4 days later.
He was the fire commissioner.
Yeah, and he said to him, Tommy, it must be, what are you going through? Are you okay now? Because he knew how many lost. Mm-hmm. At that point, it was even probably higher. I think we thought about 500 or 600. What's the difference? I mean, it was horrible. And Tommy said, yeah, I got lucky last night. My wife came home. That's what you like. I mean, and the President, Bush always remembered it. The next time he saw him, about 10 days later at a firehouse, Tommy Von Essen comes in and he says, you still getting lucky?
Oh, my gosh.
Von Essen said, it worked one night.
Mayor, one of the things, here we are on the verge of being 18 years after 9/11. There are a lot of people, young Americans, do not really know the story. They knew something bad happened, general strokes of it. But for, a lot of people have moved past it.
It's good if you move past it. It's not good if you forget it. There's two things. I mean, it's like the death of somebody you love, particularly a catastrophic death, not a natural death like a parent who dies very old. But if you, God forbid, lost a child, or you lost a husband or a wife in middle age, you don't get over it. But as time goes by, the pain you put somewhere.
You deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of my mother and father, my father's been gone 30 years, and it hurts me. I mean, I'm over the acute pain, but if I think about it, I think, oh, gosh, I'd like to have them around. You can't forget this for another reason, though. It's not over. This isn't Pearl Harbor. It will someday be Pearl Harbor. In other words, the thing that caused it will be solved. In that case, Japan, Germany, Italy. The people who killed us then, that movement is still alive, and it's killing us today.
And
killing our soldiers in Afghanistan or doing terrorist acts. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about it broadly. I'm talking about the Islamic extremist movement. Iran typifies it. Iran is probably the biggest supporter of it, the biggest funder of it. They're killing people every day inside Iran and trying real hard to kill people outside Iran.
They killed hundreds of our guys in Iraq.
We still have the bad Taliban, the really bad Taliban, and the middle Taliban, and we have forms of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And you got, for example, in the middle of South America, the 3 or 4 of the major terrorist groups, Islamic terrorist groups, are involved in the drug trade. They're involved in making money with the drug dealers.
Where?
In the triangle that would involve Ecuador. It would involve Venezuela. Venezuela generals are involved in the drug trade, and they're hiding terrorists in Venezuela, which is one of the reasons we have to get rid of Maduro. We think of Maduro as just being a problem isolated there. You get a hostile regime like that, an insane regime like that, and the terrorists take advantage of it. The point is the movement is still going on.
Hey, Rudy, what about this city? So for us, all of our dreams came true in this city. These are the men and women that are working the streets, keeping us all safe in this city. And when I was living in South Carolina growing up, as much as I love the South, and I'm so grateful for it, this was my dream. And I would watch you on TV during 9/11. I was a local reporter. I came up and you invited an elementary school from the state of South Carolina to come participate in the Macy's Day Parade with you because they raised money. They all raised money for a new fire truck for one of the ladders. And they were so proud of it, and we reported on it in local news. And I got a chance to visit Fox News and to go on all the media circuits with you, and I was just in awe. And now I'm living my dream. And I watched Mayor de Blasio on Tucker Carlson's show last night and Sean Hannity a few weeks ago. And listen, I'm a Christian. I love everyone, and I love him. But I don't love what he's doing for this city, and it worries me. When I moved here, everyone said, you cleaned up Times Square. I don't want it to go back to that. How do you feel about Mayor de Blasio and the direction of this great city?
It breaks my heart. I worked tirelessly to do that. There were times I didn't think I could do it. A lot of my friends told me I couldn't do it. A lot of my friends told me I was crazy to run for mayor. I should run for governor. I was very popular. Used to be once very popular. I used to be the U.S. attorney and had name recognition of 95%. The state is easier to elect a Republican governor than mayor. And some of my best friends told me I was an idiot to run. I couldn't win. And if I won, it would be a disaster because the last Republican mayor, John Lindsay, had to flee the Republican Party and was pretty much not successful. But I love the city. I think it's an exceptional city. There's none like it in the world. And to see this man break down not only what I did, what Bloomberg did. I mean, Bloomberg and I don't see eye to eye on politics, but I thought he was a very good mayor.
Right, and Mayor
Might have done it differently than me, but he kept the city, and he turned over to de Blasio the best-run city in America, bar none. Not just crime, everything else.
He says he made it better.
Mayor, there are a lot of men and women who
are smoking something.
He might be.
Mayor,
gee, I wonder what that would be.
Mayor, there are a lot of men and women in uniform in this city who feel like the mayor does not have their back.
Well, that's why they turned his back on him, because of the irresponsible comments that he made before the slaughter of Ramos and Lou, two wonderful police officers who were assassinated. They weren't killed in a shootout. A guy came all the way up from Baltimore, picked New York City. He could have picked any other city. He picked New York City. And he came up behind him, and he assassinated them. I think I know why they turned their back on him. And he look at the conditions of the street. Look at the homelessness in the city. It was gone. Homelessness was gone. And homelessness should be gone. There's a way to look at homelessness that these liberals just don't get. When I see a city with homeless people, I see a city with a mayor who doesn't give a damn about people. Because if you give a damn about people, you don't let them lay on the street. If you had a brother or a sister, and you got a call tonight, and you were told they're living on the street, what would you do? Go give them $20? Go give them food? Or would you grab them and talk to them and try to get them to get treatment, try to get them off the street?
A lot of people think it's mental illness.
And make it impossible to be on the streets. I had a rule, streets are not for living. somewhere in the dark ages, we figured out that you'd have, toilets should be not on the street because it creates disease. Look at Los Angeles. What do you think those people do on that street?
So what did you do with the homeless?
I had a police officer go up to every homeless person and say, you can't sleep here. If you like, we'll take you to a shelter tonight. And there'll be somebody there who will evaluate you and find out, do you need a place to live? Very small percentage. Are you an alcoholic? Much larger percentage. Do you have paranoid schizophrenia or some form of mental illness? That's about 40%. What happens to a paranoid schizophrenic on the street? They become isolated. They become removed from reality. Mm-hmm. If they don't go violent, they go even crazier. And then it's harder to cure them. So if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're a Muslim, and if you're not even religious, but you love people, when you see a person on the street, you should say, this city doesn't have a very good mayor who cares about people.
And that's
because that mayor would have somebody here talking to this person, intervening. They call it intervention with a family. Right. You have a family member who's an alcoholic, you don't give him alcohol.
Mayor, 200 feet from where we're sitting over on 47th Street, I saw a homeless person encamped this morning about an hour and a half ago. And I saw two right over here on 48th Street.
I knew it was going to get worse, and I knew it would take a while. Because de Blasio was handed the best-run city in America by Bloomberg. If you're handed a great business, I don't care how dumb you are, I don't care how stupid you are, how lazy you are, it's going to work on its own for a while. Well, now the wheels are starting to come off. And the way you can see it is quality of life. Homelessness is a great indication of that. Some of the squeegee men have come back. Smaller number, but they're already back. These are the things that are a sign of a city moving in the wrong direction. It was written not by me. Everybody thinks that Bratton and I invented the broken windows theory. We didn't. It's written by two Harvard professors, Kelling and Wilson, 1981. Basically, it says that when you let small things go, they get bigger and bigger. You also create a sense of no rules, no boundaries, and kids grow up in that.
And Mr. Mayor, I'm going to add...
Then they have no respect for the rights of other people.
And I'm going to add something else to that. Law enforcement unofficially have pulled back from arrests. The prosecutions aren't up. The arrests are down. And it sounds like crime's getting better. What it is these men and women are saying, you don't have my back? You police your own city.
Well, why do you think that police officer, which is one of the saddest things you see, that video that went viral a month or two ago with the water being thrown on the police officer?
Now they're throwing milk.
Well, the thing that I saw in that, I saw the man hunch his shoulders in defeat. He just went like this.
This one right here.
Take a look.
Yeah, just watch him. Watch his shoulders.
There's the guy who gets it in the head with the bucket. Unbelievable. It's such a hard job.
You have to be able to control the natural human response to respond, right?
This is the latest one. This was Tuesday. That was in Harlem, throwing milk on him.
This is a police department that's afraid of the mayor.
I mean Bronx, sorry, not Harlem.
They're afraid that the mayor will... Well, first of all, they know the mayor's not going to defend them, like I did. And take heat for defending them. But I always turned out to be right. I remember there was a shooting. And they wanted me to, police officers get suspended in a shooting by operational law, but they wanted me to just fire them. And I said, no, I am a lawyer and a prosecutor. They're presumed innocent, and there are questions about this case. Well, those 4 police officers were acquitted. Of course, not in the court of, the people who create problems, but they were not guilty. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to, just because it makes you popular or you can suck up to some idiots, fire these men.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But now we've got a mayor. They're worried. That man probably has a wife and he's got kids, and he's saying to himself, if I respond to this idiot who just threw water on me, I could lose my job, I can lose my income.
And
they're human beings.
And, Mr. Mayor, we have a room full of first responders today. What's your message to them?
My message to them is that we owe you so much. I mean, you're the... So I get great credit for turning the city around. And I always realize, I have a lot of humility about it, because I realize that you're the people that did it. You're the people that put your lives on the line, not me. And that's why anytime any of you ever got hurt, I tried to be the first one there. And I tried to be the first one there, not because I wanted press. I tried to be the first one there because I knew if the mayor showed up, you'd get better treatment. Because somehow the best doctor shows up when the mayor shows up. Yeah. A third of the hospitals are city hospitals. I ran them. The doctors better show up. And I did that for my family. I've always done that for my family, and you're part of my family. Sometimes 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and I never considered it anything great I was doing. Yeah. But these are the people that have to be honored all the time. And it's not just for them, it's for the young people. Every time there was a great thing you did, saved a baby, took somebody down from a building, my administrative assistant met Terry Hatton because he came to City Hall so often getting medals, they fell in love. Terry was in my office 3 times in the first year I was mayor. Once he went down into a hole and took somebody out. The next time he went up on the top of a building and took someone out, rappelled down. And the third time, I show up, and there's somebody inside trying to pull a firefighter out that was injured. And I said, yeah, it's Terry Hatton, I know it. We'll just get the medal.
Get it ready.
Get the medal ready for Terry.
So the mayor
he was. But what I tried to do was, and if a police officer delivered a baby, because firefighters and police officers, you know, firefighters is a certain kind of thing you have to deal with firefighters. They're so darn brave. I mean, they just run in, and you got to try to keep them back. And the police officers are constantly having to do difficult things. So when they did something heroic, I tried to make a big deal out of it.
Right.
So people would see police officers deliver babies. Police officers help old ladies. Right. Police officers run in also, not thinking about, oh, my gosh, the building is falling down, to pull people out. Whenever they did that, I'd make a big deal out of it. When have you ever seen de Blasio do that?
Not yet.
All right. Well, maybe you know, somebody will tell him to do it now in the last couple of months that he's got.
Yeah, as a Boston Red Sox
disgraceful.
fan, as a Boston Red Sox fan, which he is, he's not even pulling for your Yankees, and that's the big ring.
You know, he was only in the city 7 days in August, and I thought it was better. I figured maybe this month we do 2 days.
7 hours, not even
Keep
days.
running for president. Was it 7 hours?
It was
7 hours.
Rudy, we're out of time for today. Ladies and gentlemen,
Rudy Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani.